October, can I just interrupt just before you carry on? I just want to point. Okay, you say let's value the people who stay. Okay, let's give this scenario. Let's give everyone who stay the opportunity to leave and see what they would do.
That was good. No,
they stay.
It's true. I mean, people would. Whenever I tell people back home, like when I was back home right now, telling people, yeah, I'm coming back. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? And I'm a dual citizen, so I have the U.S. citizenship as well as the Namibian citizenship. And they're like, well, why would you come back and do what? They'll even come like, hey, Trevor, come here and do what? Do what in Namibia? No, I mean, and I'll be like, listen.
No, but there are people also like your dad who will say, I'm going
Absolutely,
because I know
absolutely,
I can make it there. I know there are things that maybe I'm not going directly. Maybe I want to accumulate certain things. Maybe I want to take the education. For me, there's actually not even a problem in staying here. But somebody who is scared of going home because of this after having accumulated all those things, I don't think he can.
No, I hear you completely, but this is not where you're right. And this is also then where I will say that, you know, coming back home, in my opinion, it's important. It really, really is. But then again, also depends on the skills you're gonna bring back. Because many people I'm seeing, if you're training to be a nuclear physicist, for example, I don't know if you're gonna ever get a job back home. Even if back home, you know, I don't know where you get. Even if you couldn't, I don't think you could get a job back home unless you changed what your concentration was. You know, like you know what I'm saying. Like many Africans you find are in the biology departments or in the other departments. And I'm not saying that you don't have a place back home. And there are exceptions. Maybe South Africa, some other funny exceptions. But like I'm thinking of Namibia right now. If I had, for example, a master's in cell particle, whatever.
That means you can do a lot of things.
No, I'm not saying you couldn't.
I'm not studying economics to be an economist.
I understand.
I'm studying economics so that I use that framework.
You can do anything, but
I'm saying educated process.
I understand you, but I'm just sitting back now and saying now where could they hypothetically come back and get work for? Now, granted, they have to maybe do a business plan, for example. Sometimes they maybe open their own business with it. But these things, for example, cell splitting or atom splitting, these are expenses. They can't do that back home.
If you're a nuclear physicist, you have physics, you have math, you have a lot of different
But
things.
they couldn't focus on what they were specializing in. They would have to divert that. I'm not saying they have to, but if you've gone that far, why not?
Bill Gates didn't even have a.
He didn't finish college.
Yeah, exactly.
But he didn't specialize. He was freer than there because he's freer because he didn't specialize.
He was able to use all the knowledge from different people. The guy who created Facebook didn't do anything in telecommunication or website designing necessarily.
No,
he actually dropped out in his sophomore year.
But you're looking at very much business right now. You know what I'm saying? And I hear you, but then again, someone who spends 8 years learning how to do open heart surgery. You know what I'm saying? Coming back home, you would now have to ask them to not specialize. They couldn't specialize in what they're doing immediately. They'd have to now put that apart and do something else in order to get that up. You know, how could you go back into the open heart surgery back home?
You didn't have the right education.
You don't have. See, that's what I'm saying. Now what you're saying is now what you're saying that I agree with you. Now what you're saying is that it's why for me with a politics degree, I can go back home and I can find work easy because I can go. You know what I'm saying? I can find it easier. You know what I'm saying? Now, an economics degree probably too, or a business degree. But I'm saying that there are many Africans who are in the science fields, deep. They won't find work back home.
Gentlemen, that's where I think I beg to differ in both of you guys. Let me tell you one thing. That's what I believe. Like we need to foster a culture of research and development back home. For us to develop, like Chika says, like we have to develop our
Chika
things.
who?
Like the black capitalist
capitalist nigga?
Chico and Yanni. Chico and Yanni. Capitalist nigga. Chico and Yanni.
The thing is like
read that book, people.
Yeah, we have to like develop our own stuff, make our own stuff. So if you have that knowledge, go home like in terms of like it's hard to get investment to develop to research and
it's
stuff.
Very difficult.
But if we have that stuff where you can research and develop or train people. Train people.
In one facility though, but they don't
But
have
you don't
facilities back
think
home.
That's the thing.
We don't have it.
The problem is that we like to think
it.
macro. Don't think macro. Think small.
Yeah, the thing is we're thinking like nuclear
Yeah.
physics. We're thinking you have to have a nuclear reactor or something.
Not really, but you're just
Those people, in order to be a nuclear physicist, your brain is precise, sharp, and intelligent.
That's true.
So there will be something like, this natural matter, everything. We go back home, like there's a lot of resources where you think, it make you think like, from what I have here,
What can I
do?
Like Survivor.
It's my question. They just didn't come up from somewhere. Someone had to come up piece by piece.
From like nothing.
You know, exactly. So we have to also have that thing where we
right. Yeah, no.
But it will take a long time.
But they won't. But the question is incentive again to do that. It's harder than staying here. It's easier staying here in the U.S. The incentive. I'm not saying they could not do that, but again, back to the incentive. What's the incentive?
I don't think
it's hard.
For me, it's not so much of the incentive. For me, it's how do you see yourself and how do you see the world? Do you see how do you project yourself? How big do you see yourself to become? For me, I want to become. For me, if you want to become so big, then you're not going to go and try to work for. You're not necessarily gonna be a wage worker.
I can go down to cost benefit analysis though. Their cost benefit analysis.
Exactly. That's why I was saying maybe how big do you project yourself? How big do you project your country?
No,
I think that's how it starts.
No, you're right. No,
because when you say, okay, I'm just gonna try to make a comfortable living, no problem, no struggle, no risk taking. Therefore, you're not going far. You're going far maybe inside you, but on a relative term with the world or with the other people who make great achievement, then you're not really going anywhere. So I think that's where your world in a way has to be big. Your vision has to be great in order to take certain risk. You don't take risk.
How do we get people to do that? Then again, is my question. I mean, I'm liking everything we're saying right here, but then my question now comes again. This is why I do want to go into government, because my question then becomes, I may disagree with the details of what you're saying, but what you're saying, I'm agreeing with. The question now comes, how, who? What is the vehicle through which, because obviously people aren't doing that right now. They're not doing that. They're staying, and they're doing this. So obviously we're seeing a pattern. The question is, we feel this pattern shouldn't be that way. How do we now reverse that, now is my question. What is the logistics and the actual now micro, are we to get them to change this path? That's my question now.
Like to me, my thing is like role models. We need role models. But the problem is like back home, all the rich people, the role models, you look at them, either there's some corrupt government, they stole money.
They're not good role models.
So it's like, how do they get there? Yes, they're rich, they're good, they're successful. But the way they got there, the few role models, the good ones, it's like they went outside to the to UK, US, Australia, and then they came back.
That's how they're making it.
So for those people who are down there, in order to like do something like that, take that risk, it's like you go through school. It has to be either stealing, going to the public office and getting rich, going out and then coming back. But those who go out like this, they don't come back. So how do we develop, like South Africa, I think it's very successful, this black empowerment. If you have a good business plan,
I don't know about that.
It's limited though, but for the stories that it works, I read, there's a magazine called Succeed. If you go back home and find it, it's a South African. There's all these stories about these plumbers, ceramics, people like making making all this toilets, stuff like that. That's one good example which really touched me. It's like, the guy started making like these sink bowls, and now it's like making all those like nice hotel kind of things, and he's selling them. From nowhere.
That's like you just.
And it's a skill, like making pottery. That's why I like those art classes. I'm like, if I take in one of those classes, when I go back home, I could just do that. Make pots.
Or traditional pots that are there. People have a pot sell them. No, say back home.
No, that's why I was saying. I don't know. Maybe maybe that's where maybe culture matters. Maybe not. But again, that's why I'm focusing so much on those civil society, a group of 5, 10 people, a group to 20 people, whether in a village or in a city. Well, really, people, in a way, it's a space where people come and express themselves through their talents, in a way. What can they do without really, in a way, focusing so much on what other people can do for me? It's like, how can we make our situation better? How can we make our life more productive? Start thinking, in a way. Is there a problem with the culture that we have? Maybe not necessarily. I don't think culture matters so much. But why aren't people doing that? I guess that's another question.